Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. It's been 11 years in the making, but we're finally to the point where we can actually announce the museum here at the Lincoln Depot is open for business and open for people to come see. We have a lot of people here who helped make this happen. They're all standing up here. There's even more who couldn't make it today. Members of the board of the Lincoln Depot Foundation and Museum. I'm going to start on one end and try to remember everyone's position. But we have Dr. Bob Hales, the Honorable Kathy Pisani. We have our director, Susan Jacobson, Paul Martin, Pat Garvey, and Brian Kaplan, all here from our board. Richard Masolski, the sculptor of this wonderful statue, is here today. Members of the Common Council, Drew Claxton, Kathy Talbot. We have our Assemblywoman who has been a very big part of the funding and supporting us throughout this whole time, Sandy Galef. I want to thank you for being here, Sandy. We have Debbie Malone from the Peekskill Chamber, or actually the Hudson Valley Gateway Chamber of Commerce. Really should be the Peekskill Chamber, but that's a whole other thing. Linda Puglisi, the supervisor from Cortland, has been a big supporter over the years. Anthony Ruggiero, the city manager in the city of Peekskill. Peter Clarnett, who's been our curator, who's really the inspiration has come from him and all his hard work to make this museum flow the way it does. And now I'm going to turn the microphone over to Paul. Yes, I am. We're going to hear some singing.
Okay. I'd also like to welcome the Lincoln Society of Peekskill is here as well. We have some of our past presidents, Janice Malloy, here on the platform on the right. And I know there's a lot of members out in the audience from some of the local historical societies. I see my friends from the Yorktown Historical Society, from the Rockland County Historical Society is here as well. So a lot of people from around the entire area have come to be here with us this afternoon, and we thank everybody for coming. So we're really happy and proud. You're going to see the fruits of our labor in just a couple of minutes. So before I go any further, introduce our singer.
I'm sorry, I really feel it's important that our Assemblywoman have a chance to say a few words, and she has been a big part of this project.
All right, just a very few words. You know, I just want to say this was just an idea, somebody's idea. And when I first came here, this railroad station didn't even look like, I don't know, it was, you had to really use your imagination when you walked inside to think that it would ever be this wonderful museum that we're going to explore today. And it is just a miracle, but it does show that it takes time and a lot of commitment by a lot of people, and I know a lot of people here up on the station platform. Is this called a station platform, or is this the
With Lingo.
I know, but the train, wasn't the train on the other side?
There's going to be a platform on the other side.
Right. And, you know, all the people that are here and all the people that are here and those that are not here. And I just want to express a thank you to Governor George Pataki, because he has always been here at all of these events, and something must have happened that he couldn't be here, because he was a great supporter and putting money in the budget so that this whole project could get going. And then there were other grants that came along, but that was the big grant that spearheaded it. And for those city council people that were here during that time, and a lot of people are here, it took the culmination of a lot of people saying, yes, this is a dream that we can fulfill. And on behalf of the New York State Assembly, I do have a very short citation for you, and just to compliment you on a job well done. And I know the visitors will be coming here. They'll flock here from up and down the Hudson Valley, but also visitors that are coming from other countries. So it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful museum.
Thank you, Sandy. Thanks for everything. Thank you for everything. Okay. Yes, we plan on this being a real destination place. It's already been spread wide and far. Just your showing today for our first opening is indicative of that, and we're very proud. But I want to give Linda Puglisi, our neighbor in Cortland. Actually, I shouldn't say this, but I have to say this. Peekskill, at the time that this station was in operation and Lincoln stopped here, was a village within the town of Cortland. So it's appropriate.
I'm glad you said it, John. I was going to say it. Thank you all for inviting me. It is such a pleasure and a delight to be here. As a daughter of a father who was a history professor and a town historian over in the town of Orangetown across the river, and we used to stop on vacations, family vacations, at every single historical marker in New York State. I am delighted to be here as part of this really important historical day. This is a true treasure for our community, for the city. I congratulate you, John. I congratulate the officials in the city of Peekskill and the members of the board of this wonderful museum, the Lincoln Society, so many other people have worked hard to make this become a reality. It's here forever, and that's why we're here as stewards of the history of our communities, so that we can pass that on to our children and our grandchildren. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And one last thing before I do turn it over to Paul is I want to thank the local Elks 744 Lodge for donating the flagpole and the flag to our site here. It's a wonderful addition, and it's important that we have it here, and we want to thank them for their donation. So, Paul, I'll leave it up to you.
Thank you. Just before we cut the ribbon, we would like to take this moment now to salute our country and our country's flag, under which, of course, Abraham Lincoln served as Commander-in-Chief and as a President of the United States during this most difficult time in our history. And it was the stars and the stripes on that flag that Abraham Lincoln struggled so mightily to preserve the Union. So I'm very proud and pleased to introduce a very good friend of mine, a local historian, a reenactor, a professional opera singer. You're in for quite a treat. For our national anthem, please let me introduce Mr. Fred Anthony Camposano.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the ocean's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and land of the brave?
You walked away. Excellent job. Thank you so much. One last thing. Thank you so much. One last thing is I want to thank a couple people or a couple organizations, especially Brian Kaplan. When you come in and see the wonderful artifacts, much of this museum is from Brian's private collection on loan to us. We have loans from the Peekskill Museum, some significant items from the Peekskill Museum, as well as the Peekskill Field Library. So we want to give their due respects as well as we cut the ribbon and ready to go inside. Okay? Who's going to help me do this? Okay, Susan.
Brian.
1,
That's all right.
2, 3. They've been using these for 13 years now. We have a very special treat today. Richard Masolski is here today with us to help us with the ribbon cutting and opening up the museum. Rich is the sculptor and artist who designed the concept and created the statue that stands in front of our museum, that people come just for that. If not for anything else, they'll come to see the statue. Now they can also come to the museum, but the statue has really been the focal point, actually, for many years now, since 2007. So thank you so much for being here.
Good seeing you, John.
What's your impressions?
I'm thrilled. I think this is absolutely fantastic. The last time I saw this was Dedication Day in 2007 in October, right?
Right.
October. And I saw the inside, and it was like an old ramshackle barn. And to see the difference, the facelift this place has gotten, and the beauty of the exhibits and the layout, it's just breathtaking. The track lighting, everything. And to see the history behind it, the display cases, everybody should come down here. Whenever it's open, I don't even know the hours, you'll get to that soon, but come down, bring the kids, have them get a great education by being here.
And your vision for the statue, for those who are new to the area or maybe were not here at the time when the statue was created. We did a lot of coverage of it back then, but it stood the test of just the last 7 years, people seeing it. It was your vision of what Lincoln might have looked like when he gave his speech.
Right, right. We learned that he spoke from the back of a baggage cart when he got off the train. He wasn't here long, but he did make a speech, and he was standing on the back of a baggage cart, and that's what the railings are in the statue that I did, based on the look of a baggage cart, which was 3 feet off the ground.
Right.
So there he is, top hat, making a speech to Peekskillians back in 1861, was it? 1861, on his way to become president.
Yep.
So this is the pre-presidential, officially presidential Lincoln.
And the statue has really gotten a lot of notoriety nationwide. I know it's been in a book or two that I've heard about, and I know you do other sculptures. Name some of the other major memorials you've been involved with.
Well, I did a life-size Rip Van Winkle not too far from here in Irvington on Main Street, and the Westchester County Police Memorial in White Plains, the Yonkers Gold Star Mother, which is another life-size piece, and I'm working now towards a grouping for the Wizard of Oz to honor the author Frank Baum up in Chittenango, New York, which is where he was born, right? So that's on the plate right now. And I'm still waiting to do a statue of this gentleman when he commissions me.
Okay.
They're in front of his home or somewhere.
We'll see who will take that one. And then you also did the memorial, I think, in Wappinger.
Oh, yeah, over life-size World War II monument in Wappinger Falls, Vietnam Memorial in Newburgh, Orange County Veterans Memorial. Yeah, a little bit of everything.
You do excellent work. I'm so glad you were able to come today. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
And you did a fantastic job helming this, and I just can't applaud you enough.
Thank you.
Again, everybody visit. Come.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks. I'm so glad that Linda Puglisi, the supervisor of Cortland, was able to be here for our grand opening and ribbon cutting for the Lincoln Depot Museum. So what is your impression of our museum?
John, it's just absolutely fantastic. I'm so proud to be here and so delighted that you invited me. Thank you so much, and for everything that you've done to make this a success, John. I know there's been a lot of people,
Yes.
but you've been here from the beginning. It started 11 years ago,
Yes.
I think you told me.
Yeah.
The foundation, the committee, the Lincoln Society, everybody who's been involved in this, going back to former Governor Pataki, and right through to today with the officials who are so supportive of this, as we are in the town of Cortland. And of course, as you mentioned before, Cortland and Peekskill used to be one municipality.
Yes, people don't understand that. That's why I mentioned it earlier that
Part of our history,
Peekskill,
1941,
yes.
right. But anyway, just to be here in this unbelievable historic depot, and now it becoming a museum for the generations to come. And as I said in my remarks earlier, that we're stewards here for our children and our grandchildren to learn this unbelievable history that we have in our region and in our great country. I have the poster
official
here,
poster?
the official
Beautiful.
poster, which I will treasure forever. And my father was a history professor. He was a town historian across the river
Excellent.
in Rockland County for 25 years. And growing up, our whole life on family vacations was stopping at historical markers.
I put my kids through that too.
Right, and my father, my late father, would just have loved to have been here and to be a part of it.
Great.
So in his memory, I'm so proud to be here.
I'm glad you're here.
I can't imagine. It's going to be so exciting when the classes come in here, the school classes, and the children learn about this wonderful, great president that we had. February 19th, 1861 was when he was here, gave a speech, and then I learned that in 1865, then his funeral train came.
Unfortunately, he did come through here once again.
April 25th, 1865. So on that note, thank you,
Thank you.
John.
Thanks
Continued
again.
success.
Thanks for all your support too.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm so pleased to be joined by our Assemblywoman, Sandy Galiff. And Sandy, you have been, since day one, a supporter of this project. From the day we obtained the property 11 years ago, through all the grants, Empire State Development grants and other grants that we've got, you were supportive in the legislature for us. You've been to just about every event we've had here, including the Murder at the Museum event.
At the museum. That was
And I can't thank you enough for your support and your vision to help us make this happen.
Thank you so much, John. Well, first of all, you know, Abraham Lincoln was such a distinguished president, serving in the most difficult times. And, you know, when we look back on his history, I think we just all admire him. And I am one of his strong admirers. So when I started to hear, and I was saying earlier that, you know, you have individuals that just have an idea, and the idea was to turn this old railroad station that I know is falling apart, because I've been here at all your events, and there was no floor, and you know, walking on stones, and you know, and then the ceiling actually was in a little bit better shape maybe, but I mean, it's come such a long way. So there were people involved like you to try to move this along, and it's been great to be a part of the process, and it's wonderful that the state of New York recognized history of a very important president.
And I think the state, all the people who support at the state level should be proud, because this is a museum dedicated to New York State's contributions to Lincoln's presidency, his elections, and the Civil War. And people don't realize how much of a contribution New York had during the Civil War for troops, and how much Lincoln relied on New York during the course of his presidency. And the inspiration of his little stop here might have been only a few minutes, but it inspired all of this.
Well, you know, Abraham Lincoln didn't always have a lot to say, but every word that he said was so incredibly important and so inspiring, more than we know. No, but this was an area in Peekskill that so much was going on at that time. And what was so interesting is, you know, as I read some of the displays, there was a political divide a little bit within this community and the president, and yet, as you said, so many of the resources came from this area, and that's what's really great. And I want to compliment Governor George Pataki again for his leadership in getting the money to really start the project, because I think without that initial big lump of money.
Absolutely, yes it was. And it was a plan to not only do this museum and restore this building, but it was for the whole waterfront area to have a whole waterfront redevelopment. And the governor at the time, Pataki, saw the vision. And I have to say, after he left, everyone subsequent to him allowed the grants to continue and supported the project as well. So without everyone's support, we wouldn't be here now.
Right, and it's really a part of, I look at the Hudson Valley, and you think back all those years about how important we were to the beginning of our country, and you know, and from then on. And this is just one of the very important museums that we have, and there are others along the way. And you know, I hope that this will encourage even more people to come out in our area and learn about history, but also to participate in the community in other ways and help with economic development. We all want to see that and go to the restaurants and enjoy the waterfront here in Peekskill. I mean, this is a marvelous place to come.
Yeah, the building, adaptively reusing a whole historic building for use of a museum, economic development for the tourism it will create for the city, which has all been part of the plan as well.
Right.
But the history is at the core of it, and thank you so much for everything you've done.
You're very welcome, John. Thank you. Job well done.
Thank you. Now joined by Peekskill Mayor Frank Catalina. Mayor, thank you so much for being here, and
John,
everything you've done to help
here.
us make sure we got to this point.
Well, I just wanted to get a lot of the projects that have been lying around for 6 years being micromanaged, to get them moving. You know, we don't really care what color the door handles are. We just want these projects to get done. And I was glad we're able to finalize the visitor center, and get that started, and hopefully we'll have that completed next year.
Yeah, that's the next phase of the project. We finally got to the point where the museum is open. This building is now set. We'll do what we need to do to get the museum to build the museum. But next is the outside, and the next phase, which the city is more involved directly with,
Well, I was shocked when, to find out that this money had been appropriated years and years
2006,
ago.
yeah.
And so I don't know what could possibly have taken so long, but now that the visitor center, we have the floor plan and we have the building design ready, so the whole courtyard will be. We just approved the contract for the fence. Let's just get it done, you know, and this will be a magnet. This is the first of what I think are going to be dominoes to greatly change the Water Street, Railroad Avenue, this whole area. Because as you know, not much has really been done with these buildings down here since we were in high school. You know, the brewery is a renovated building, but no, you know, the Standard House, but that was 20 years ago. So this building getting completed will draw the people in, and then that will make the climate perfect for economic development.
We always saw this museum as a core for that, as the centerpiece of the waterfront redevelopment, the link between the downtown business district and the riverfront, because it's right at the intersection of Central Avenue and Water Street. We know of the economic benefits of historic tourism. We see a historic building be restored, which brings people. We just mentioned with Rich Masolski before, the artist of the statue outside, brings people. So when people have a reason to come, they will come, the businesses will thrive, and Peekskill will thrive.
Well, that's absolutely true. And you know, we have the Herman Paritsky's project right across the street from Zepp's, and that will start the Central Avenue corridor to be redeveloped. And I'm really very excited about the opportunities here. But I want to thank you, because a lot of people don't know this, but since you were in 3rd or 4th grade, I remember, you've been a history buff forever, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
And this has been your baby, and I know that you put a lot of time in as a councilman, then as mayor, and of course with Governor Pataki's office. Again, I just wanted to thank you personally, because history buffs don't get any credit. That's all their work is, research and research. But I know you put a tremendous amount of time and a great personal sacrifice of time away from your family, and I want to thank you on behalf of the city.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thanks for all your help.